Alrighty, hello every folks, and welcome to a bit of an odd choice of a video. Actually had put this up as a joke originally, but screw it, I guess we're doing it. So this is kind of just going over, trying to see if we can find any logical inconsistencies with the Last Raven plot. Because this is a game, as weird as it sounds, that I absolutely respect the hell of design-wise, but man oh man do I absolutely hate to play it, because, well, truth be told, as far as its, as far as a lot of choices with it went, it wasn't pleasant to play. The multiplayer was fun, but it just definitely, like, as far as the AC series goes, this is definitely one of the least, like, moment-to-moment enjoyable ones until you win something. But in terms of, like, overall cathartic, you know, feels fun to fly around a robot type stuff, they kind of left that all behind in 3 and Silent Line. I mean, to some degree, Nexus. I will say I loved Nexus a whole lot more than Last Raven, but I really, really love what they tried to do here, because they tried to do a sort of choose-your-own-adventure type situation, which, again, they tried to do in Nexus 2, but some of them required you to purposely fail missions, and, like, they specifically removed the load button on that one so that you wouldn't go back and change your choices. But I know for me personally, I thought that that was just a design oversight, so I just went back to the main menu to reload. But yeah, like their main takeaway from all of this seemed to be to try to get people to make more choices and everything else. And then I think after that they just sort of gave it another shot in Formula, not Formula Front, in For Answer, but then they just sort of dropped the idea later. But anyway, we're getting a bit off topic here. So, wanted to look at one thing, well, a couple of things that I found kind of interesting. So, first of all, we're going to be looking for logical inconsistencies in the story, and second of all, I wanted to point out that one of the reasons that I respect it is the same reason that, well, the reason I respect it is the same reason I hate it, and it's also the same reason I wish I would have liked it. As weird as that sounds. Because what do we see in all of these missions? And what do we see in this setting as a whole? Because if you think about all the levels, think about all of the different settings that you run into, there's only one route through this game that actually has you consistently fighting ACs all throughout it. And even then, it becomes very clear that what they say at the beginning is exactly what they just sort of decided to commit to for this game, where all of these settings were made for MTs. Like, think about all of the rest of the Armored Core series. They're like big open areas, there's specific areas you're going after, you're not going into facilities and stuff like that often. You're usually either defending stuff or just attacking stuff that's relatively unassailable, because the whole point of the ACs, it's essentially a customizable super tank. So essentially sending it in to fix the air conditioning is not exactly the kind of crap it was designed for. And especially, like, stuff right here, like, all of the stuff to do with the power plant. You can clearly tell that all the MTs have a really good time in there. They have the advantage. You definitely have a disadvantage going into those situations. And yeah, it's the reason that I respect that they decided to just sort of pick a gimmick and go for it, but it's why I absolutely hate playing through this thing. Because very few of these missions are actually something that you'd normally see an AC sent for in the series. Your first 3 are. Because this is back when, like, if you remember the whole, like, story in this whole thing, it's just, there's only maybe a couple dozen pilots left for ACs. It's literally just MTs and scraps and relative apocalypse in all directions. So, you know, whatever you do, you do. So, you know, eliminate intruders, just go fight some MTs, destroy military base, or go fight an AC. Okay, this kind of stuff is the kinds of stuff that an AC would normally be sent for in the series. Removing bridge defenders? Sure, okay. Getting rid of another AC? Fair enough. Acquire the commodity, so basically go clear some stuff and fight another AC. Getting rid of an MT. Okay, so far, our first couple hours, standard Armored Core type missions. But then, what do we start seeing after that? We start seeing, like, oh, go into tightly enclosed areas, or go fight multiple units at once. You know, there's just a garage out there. The garage could arguably be seen as fairly similar to some of the other ones, but it's very rare for, I think, like, For Answer was the only other time that they had a mission that was, like, just, there's some dudes in a desert, go take them out. There's just some people sitting in a garage. This is totally not a trap, we swear. It's a really cool thing to, you know, to set it up that way, because they're basically setting up that this is more or less, you know, battle royale with robots. But I wish they would have been a bit more, I guess, get a bit more bombastic about everything that's going on in the world. Like, if they had little cutscenes between each one of these, yes, I realize it would have taken absolutely ages and probably doubled the development time of this game, but, like, could you imagine if they had little scenes between each one of these little transitions where they're like, yeah, you know, here's all the stuff that happened all over, you know, here's the current state of everybody alive or dead, and you might be saying, wait a minute, what about the report? Yes, you get the report, but it's like a little, I mean, it's a little pop-up. It's just a really basic report. I'm talking about, like, some kind of front mission type situations going on where you get your full breakdown of everything that's going on, you know? But anyway, so this is kind of where stuff starts to get way more cutthroat. You start seeing cases where, like, you have this MT here, and, you know, Jacko's off starting to betray his own people. You have the storage site here where you're basically just going and crawling through vents in a giant robot, because that's the best way to do that. Just, in general, stuff that they would normally send MTs for the most part. Because, yeah, it's just an MT, why would you send an AC? I mean, I know they're kind of probably contractually obligated at this point to constantly have a chase down the MT mission, but it's tight quarters, you're constantly getting shot at the entire time, even by dudes you can't actually shoot back at, because you got all little soldier guys all over the walls, and for recapture storage site, I mean, similar situation going on right there. And then for eliminate the AC, I mean, that is something that you could see for the rest of the series that they might send an AC for, but this literally happens later in this game, and they just send a crap load of MTs, and like, they actually send a proper army, and then only once that ends up having issues did they bother to send in Greenhorn, who was kind of terrible. I don't know why they hired him, but I guess he was cheap, you know? Anyway, the guy probably couldn't find a job. Like, who the hell wants a tank in late 3rd gen? Or at least one with a Silky on it. Like, I just imagine the guy's Fiverr rating for AC. Like, oh yeah, sorry, 1 star. The guy brought a frickin' Silky. Do not hire. Anyway, so yeah, protect the cargo, recover the cargo. Kind of cool how they have those two potentially interspersed. Where if you don't show up to save them initially, that everything's kind of taken over. But again, normally, for just sending out and recovering stuff, you'd think they would send the MTs, but they're sending an AC out for that. Like, throughout most of the rest of the series, whenever this kind of stuff comes up, usually they say, like, oh yeah, we sent MTs first. They got exploded. Please go fix this. Like, it's the AC is the backup plan, not the initial plan. I realize I'm probably digging way too much into a series that probably does not put this much thought into its plots, but whatever, screw it. Raid Distribution Center, I mean, fairly standard stuff there, but again, in Nexus, this exact thing happens with MTs, so anyway. A battle challenge, that's fairly normal. Removing the lab intruders, again, kind of seems like overkill to send an AC for that, but they did find illegal stuff, and then they tried to lock you inside, and yeah. So I like the general idea of that one. The execution made it really annoying because somebody decided, you know, I think some interns' finger might have maybe slipped on the wrong key and added a few extra digits to the friggin's bug damage output, because them suckers hit like a missile with every shot. It's kind of bizarre. All right, let's see. Investigative activity. Let's see, left on Jack's orders. What was the Tartarus? I don't remember where the Tartarus headquarters were. Whatever. Let's take a quick peek inside there, so you see what we can find. Yes, I realize I'm making fun of Silkies while running a AC here with dual Silkies. It's fine. This was an old Challenger Unsafe file. Literally one of the ones on the AC list is the Federation Cruiser from FTL. Oh, it's this thing! Yeah, I remember. There's kind of like a whole mini plot line of everyone trying to take and untake this particular place. But, alright, anyway, I suppose back to the plot analysis then. Like, all in all, it's, I don't know, I always kind of felt like they wanted to include some kind of armor system in this game. And I know that seems weird because they have, like, defense shell, defense energy, but I mean, like, an actual proper armor system. I don't know where that particular thing was coming from. There we go. I'll just go ahead and abort it, because screw it, we're not getting anything out of it anyway. Just wanted to go pew-pew some stuff. Also, I gotta say, this game is incredibly awkward to play on a Vita. And, oh, hang on, just one quick moment. Seems like I've gone ahead and screwed up the video real quick. There we are. And we're back. Alright. Yeah, incredibly awkward to play on a Vita. I am playing this on original hardware and all that kind of thing. But okay. So that's all fair enough. I completely forgot what Tartarus was. Now, okay. So by this point, we're starting to see, of those... Let's see, how many ACs are there in the info file? Let's see, Raven list, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, so 21. I thought it was 24, but whatever. So, I do like that they have that report in there. They definitely remind me of Tactics Ogre on that one, where they just have the report of what happened to everybody. But anyway, so by this point, we're seeing maybe like 4 or 5 of those 21 already being eliminated. So you start seeing that they're trying to end the fight early with Evangel over here. We see them the opposite side trying to get rid of Raging Torrent. Yeah, this guy is a little bit better defended. You have some of them trying to go take out air forces. You have some of them trying to do invaders. So you see, they're still following the plot at this point. Like, kind of like going down the list here, you generally see Vertex doing way more of the actual aggressing, just like they threatened that they would. But anyway, it's kind of a just fun touch on that one. The old indie square over here, doing kind of their whole thing. Most of them are just going after infrastructure, so okay. So far, so consistent. We've got Vertex attacking. We've got Alliance trying to end the fight early, and we've got the Indies just kind of causing a mess for everybody. Alright, and at this point we start getting into where I feel it starts falling apart a decent bit, because you get a whole bunch of different options. But this is where everybody starts fighting over all the power production facilities and dealing with ECMs and dealing with countermeasures. Again, the stuff that they would normally just send droves of MTs out to deal with, but you gotta deal with all the grunt crap, and this part just sucks. Underground bioweapons, terrible. Dealing with Deorgan distribution. I mean, you do get to take out Mollycoddle, so that's kind of funny. You get different patrols and things like that. Like, anything to do with the electric plant can just piss right off. Anything to do with the terminal, the whole terminal area thing, where you basically are... wait, this is a different one. This is a different one than I'm thinking of. Is this the one with the airport? Because I know there's one that you do the plant, and then you immediately are told, hey, go fix the airport. We never bothered to see if there was a place for our plane to land. Maybe go take care of that. Because you are functionally, ew, no, just no. I hate this map. I hate it so much. Again, like the super enclosed maps, you can tell that this is just not what the game was built for. And I know that in some cases they're probably just reusing assets. Many of them are just literally maps from Nexus, or just reused assets from Nexus. It's just... It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell what happened there exactly, because I can't imagine anybody played through those and thought, wow, this is fun. This is something that I enjoy doing. Like, pretty much every mission in Silent Line, even when they went crazy difficult and things like that, it still had a bunch of really cool stuff going on, you know? Like, the worst one that I can think of is the one with the gigantic bioslugs. And even then, you know, you're basically having survival horror in a mech. When do you ever see that, you know? Especially the one mission where you're basically going around trying to find missing stuff, and then you get the second half to go deal with those bioslugs, and it's just like, man, I do not have the number of bullets to deal with this nonsense. So anyway, all kinds of backstabbing and just dealing with the worst of the worst here. And then we get to the worst part of the game, hands down, regardless of difficulty, regardless of anything. Everything always happens at the power plant, whether you're going in to get rid of the core or you're trying to prevent the meltdown for some reason. This is kind of an odd one, because you're either, in most cases, you're trying to prevent the meltdown as Vertex, or you're trying to destroy it and or just, well, shut the thing down as the Alliance, because they're trying to take over the place. But I gotta say, the just kind of the situation here is a bit odd, because this is kind of where we started getting into the the kind of interesting way that the plot ends up developing. Because, yeah, if you don't deal with the bioweapons, they get sent in, and you get this mission, where you're basically dealing with the fact that they got sent in to take out the plant. If you do discover them, then you're dealing with robots. If you're on the opposite side, then you're dealing with a bunch of this kind of stuff. And if you're on the pulverizer route, that's when you end up finding your first pulverizer there, who suddenly realized, oh crap, there's somebody going around getting quite the body count. We should go introduce ourselves. The pulverizers are a weird, unique mechanic to this game that I kind of feel must have been a late addition, because as iconic as they are to this game, I seriously don't think they were here originally. Because they do seem kind of tacked on. Every other route that you go through, there's a decent chance you might run into one of them or none of them, and then what? You don't hear about them in the ending, you don't hear anything about that. It's just like, the Internicine's done, or just you never even entered the Internicine, and it's like, what happened? What about the pulverizers? They're still out there, man. But then, yeah, just nobody cares and everything's fine. Anyway, so let's go back and go back to looking down the list here. Hang on just one moment. And we're live. Okay. Here we go. So, looking through the rest of this, okay, now we're fighting over bridges. Apparently lots to do about that dang bridge at this point. They're trying to find Evangel, trying to protect this warlord guy. And over here, we got Zaneta with this pulverizer situation again. Now, funnily enough, yeah, as far as the pulverizers go, the quad pulverizer at this point, if they didn't show up for the fight, where are they at exactly? So, I mean, over here on the Vertex side of things, they're over taking out, I think, like, Warlock or whatever his name is. Not Gast. What's his face? Merlin? I don't know, something wizardly sounding. Let's see, Evangel, yada, yada, yada. Everyone's trying to assassinate each other. But yeah, what's the quad pulverizer doing at this point? Because they're supposed to be going off to the plant, or not the plant, but Tartarus. So let's see. Can we figure out what it's actually doing? Yeah, pulverizer that attacked Tartarus headquarters is destroyed. The weird thing about Tartarus is, despite being a headquarters, they're oddly poorly defended. I just gotta say, like they're weirdly poorly defended, and the place just looks beat up to all hell. But I suppose it makes sense for their HQ. But yeah, it's even weirder because they somehow had time to build stuff like the Leviathans. When the hell did they have time to do that? Because, like, for the one of them, they've literally got 3 of them suckers built. Where? How? Their headquarters is like a building in a hole underground. They've got some facilities they can barely land a plane, but they're, like, making state-sized flying, space whales. It's weird. Anyway, so pulverizer that attacked the thing is destroyed. So it basically just pisses off for 2 hours if you're if you don't feel like fighting it here. So kind of establishing some world there. I wonder if there's a map anywhere. Well, actually, there is a map on the world thing. I suppose that gives us some idea of the distances here. So some of them literally will take hours to get somewhere. So I would say, what would that make this place? Like about the size of Texas-ish at the speeds that they move? Something like that. I suppose we're setting up a little bit of world building, but not much beyond that. But let's look at the rest of the pulverizers here. So we had the one that shows up at the... we had the tank that shows up first. Then we have the quad. So the quad shows up there. Where's the other ones? So Cirque City, that's going to be our biped. Because then once you fight the biped, that's when you're dealing... No. Let's see. Because that's the hover biped in Cirque City, isn't it? Because bipedal... No, bipedal is Evangel. So... So you either fight Evangel as himself, or you fight him as... Let's see. Yeah, so if he turns into a pulverizer, he kills Jacko and Zenaida. And then you fight him that way, or you fight the hover over in Cirque City. But Is there any route that you actually fight the hover earlier? Because I want to say you did actually kill all of them in one route, but now that I think about it, do you actually kill off the hover? Because Tartarus is the quad. I mean, is that... Let's see, disrupted by pulverizers, so that's, again, the quad at that point. No, is it? Or is that the hover? Let's find out. Let's see if that's the hover, because if I'm understanding this right, this might potentially be a really cool twist. And by the way, I know I don't have game audio on right now for this. Let's just probably go into the underground area, and really should be using something that isn't the dual silky right here. You can basically just wait it out here at some point. If I recall correctly, you have to wait it out for about 2 minutes before the rest of the group shows up. Like, it's either half her health or a couple minutes, I don't remember. She's got different versions for each one. Yeah, I think this is the one with the health trigger. So, let's go ahead and make that happen. Again, worst possible AC to pick for this. But all I want to do is take a peek at this guy. Yeah, so as far as theories on why certain stuff in this game was designed how it is, there's very specific circumstances where, you know, having a high DPS energy weapon is somehow better than the power versions. But yeah, it's a real piece of crap. I'm gonna switch over to another one. Really not in the challenge run mindset today, I gotta say. Let's see what else we got in here. Oh, we got the old caffeine. Okay, this is my my original one that I absolutely loved using. All right. So if this isn't the hover, then potentially there's some interesting stuff here. Because if the hover is the only one that survives and it becomes the super hover, that'd be a really, really interesting twist. But I think it might just be a second hover that pops out. But you know what? Sometimes you just randomly feel like covering something you only vaguely remember. Just go MG, I think, to break the legs first. This is why I loved using this particular one. It's literally just like a limb breaker. Oh man, so I'm curious if anyone else has those moments where, as soon as you start talking about AC, the first instinct is always just to go into what exactly your build is trying to accomplish. And I wonder if that's why there's so much. There's always historically been so many arguments between the community, because everyone just immediately thinks like their idea is the best one. Like it doesn't even intentionally come off as insulting whenever people are talking to each other that way. It just always seems to it always seems to come up like that. Anyway, yes. Finish your dialogue so we can see this dang thing already. That's why I stopped shooting at her. Oh, all right, fine. Get a little bit more health. There we go. Which one are you? Because I'm fairly certain it's, yeah, it's the quad. So, correct me if I'm wrong here, but that basically means that, yeah, the hover is the only one that survives. That's why it becomes the super hover. I never noticed that detail before. That's pretty cool. Alright, so I guess that actually does clear up the question I was wondering about over whether they were consistent over what happened with these hovers here, because the aerial pulverizer, yeah, last pulverizer creation. So let's see, where do you fight the normal hover? Let's see. So let's see. Energy supply pods in Old Nire were destroyed. Defense systems were shut down. I don't even remember this one. What? Energy supply pods? What the hell? What route's this one on? I mean, considering how short this game is, you'd think some of these more niche ones would come up more often. What was the deal with the energy supply pods? Oh, okay. I remember. So you're just going into the city and shutting them down. So this is kind of the everything went absolutely swimmingly ending. So you're shutting off those things. And then this is the one where dude guy gets his head blown off somehow by one of these. Sorry, nose was itchy. Okay. That was weird. For some reason I had my finger wrong and it didn't quite pan out like I was hoping to on that one. Then you get here, and then you go pop, pop, pop on these things. Eventually. Thing go boom, yes. Thank you. Forget if you can hit him from the outside. I don't think you can. And then this is the one where you run to the hover, I think. Right? No? Or is that just the end there? No, I guess that's just kind of the end there. Oh wait, you do literally have to actually go to the end. Alright, that must be where the thing attacks. Because I swear you end up fighting the basic hover in one of these. These guys showing up late to the most important fight. We're coming, guys! This thing is so weird to control on a Vita. Yeah, as far as the many ways to play this game, definitely do not play it on a Vita. Like, basically the thing is, it's almost perfectly designed to not play this way. Because you kind of need the handholds for the ways that they have the control set up, and especially for the PSP version. Instead of just having your fingers slide forward, you kind of have it slide off the left, or you have to accept a left turn in order to be able to use your left-hand weapon. Yeah, so that was literally just it. Is that seriously one of the endings? I barely even remember that one. Okay. Whatever. Fine. So, yeah, you either fight them underneath there. Located, pulverizer located in the area beneath Cirque City. Jacko perished. 'Cause I think that's the one where you just find them all blown up, right? Because I remember specifically the one with Crow. I don't know if it was Crow or it was the other guy that looks a hell of a lot like Crow. Where they pop in, they do their cool pose, they get their head blown off in the most impossible way possible. Actually, yeah, this is the one where you find Jacko all jacked up. The tornado ending, as I like to call it. I mean, I appreciate what they were going for with that one. It's more annoying than cool, but oh well. See, I feel like this game should have had what they did for Verdict Day. Like, if they had the hardcore mode in this one, could you imagine how cool that would be? Like, if you actually had to get through using a certain number of lives, suddenly all these weirdly tense scenarios made a lot more sense. I mean, I think that's why a lot of folks like doing permadeath runs in this game, because it does feel like it belongs there. But if you could tweak the rules, you know, if you could tweak how much damage everybody was doing, like, especially they had this, like, one-shot kill mode in that one that's incredibly fun. I mean, if you combined Last Raven and Verdict Day, I think it would have been just the... I feel like each of those two games has an incredible half and another half that I absolutely hate. Like, I love the gameplay of both to some degree, but specifically Verdict Day had some pretty cool settings, but it also didn't quite nail, like, trying to set up any kind of world building. This one nailed the world building, but the overall, like, level design is utter garbage, in my opinion, but you know, again, it just kind of comes down to the whole thing that this is kind of like a flight simulator with walking, so having it all take place in corridors is really, really annoying. Let's see. Yeah, it has to be this one. Has to be this one, right? Heaven's Ray, not Crow. I'm gonna feel real stupid if it's the same guy. I don't remember. Because yeah, I think it's like Hunter or Hunt something for Crow. Which now makes me think of one of the characters off that Grey's Anatomy thing there. Hey, whatever. I'm married. My wife likes it. It is, to be fair, a fun, kind of a fun thing to comment on, anyway. All right. So this guy is a guy that loves to have his legs broken. Sometimes he'll just stand there and eat a blade like that. Yeah, Jouster, that's his name. So really no need to take this guy too seriously. Although he does cheat and use that slug gun in the air like a complete bastard. Oh, hang on. Locked against the wall. Man, oh man, I really do not like playing this game, but I sure have played a surprising amount of it regardless. Alright. Boy, oh boy, these Loris arms are pretty busted, though. And there he goes. Alright. So this is the hover Polby, right? Something is approaching. Neato. I think part of the reason that this one kind of just gets on my nerves... Yeah, it's hover Polby. Wait, is it? Or is it biped? No, that's biped. Huh. Was that a guide that told me that this was hover Polby? It might be. Well, I know one of the endings features hover Polby, so we'll go take a look at that one in a sec. Fun note, by the way, the I know it's got a different name in this one, but the Not Quite Dragon Slayer is actually ridiculously good. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of it so we don't have to rebuild the legs. Fun note, if you're ever doing free missions, just always quit out. Then you don't have to worry about rebuying your broken parts. It's pretty annoying that your parts can be broken in that. But yeah, let's take a look at hover Polby. I need to compare. Let's see. This is just where they're basically fighting in the open. That's pretty cool. I do really appreciate just the wide variety of different places that this fight can end. Polarizer. Yeah, this is hover Polby, isn't it? Or this one, sorry. But no, if it's this one, that has to also be biped. Okay, now you're beneath Cert City. Jacko perished. So which one is it? New Pulverizer sounds like it has to be the biped. So I'm going to assume it's this one that has the hover. Because yeah, that would essentially mean that, yeah, you have to get through the entire thing to finally find out that there actually totally was a leftover Pulverizer. But that also kind of leaves another loose thread of what happens to all the other ones if you didn't do it that way. Right, so it's not this one. It's not this one because in this one you have to go through the door, you find what's left of Jacko, and then you have to go down the hole. Mr. Roboto, go down the hole. Alright, so then it would be this one, right? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it would make sense because then Zenaida would have been the one to go down to the bottom. Yeah, there we go. That looks about right. And then actually, yeah, that's what it is. And one of them, Evangel dies trying to hold the hover Polby off. And this one, he's just like, oh man, my build is absolute garbage. How could I have seen this coming? And then, right, is that hover Polby up there? Oh my god, it's a Pokemon! And then you gotta bring your Master Ball. Don't believe what you're seeing. Get a friggin' Pokedex. and then you make the thing go boom, and then, yeah. So, I mean, that sounds like a reasonable theory, right? That the only reason that the final boss is the Super Pulvy is because this one survives and it collects the data off all the other ones in the Pulverizer route? Makes sense? I feel like it makes sense. I mean, all things considered, the Hover Pulvy is kind of the worst, but then it's really good versions actually covering its weaknesses. So presumably it just kind of learns of the fact that all of them are weak to missiles and just puts together all those missile countermeasures, or at least attempts to. And all things considered, despite those solutions not exactly being ideal, it definitely does fit in terms of, like, when you see an AI trying to adapt kind of to different kinds of situations. It's definitely fitting for the kinds of weird crap they come up with, because usually it is pretty dumb. So I would absolutely imagine that this would take absolutely just tons of iterations until they made something actually threatening. So yeah. Anyway, so to make a long story short, yeah, I gotta say the overall plot of Last Raven does actually line up. So that's cool. Not really much more to say beyond that. Although, I guess, who blew this hole open if... Was it Zenaida that blew the hole open if Jacko's not here? Because as I understand, he just, like, blows it open with his... I think he has his Sawa left? Or is it only his grenade launcher left? I don't know, but he blows open the hole one way or the other and then just sort of dies. So... Would it have been Zenaida here? They said she died too, but... It's offline, okay, fair enough. And then that's where we fight Evangel, right? No, that's... No, that's also Hover Pulvy. Yeah, I have no idea. Like, I know that this thing is almost a complete swap of the version later. So it's the one that comes up with a shield. At least they bother to explain it in this one. I always kind of wonder what this game would have played like if you really could do all the maneuvers. I mean, by the end of Verdict Day, you can almost do a lot of these maneuvers. Almost. For all the movement in Dark Souls, you somehow still can't get proper robot movement even up till now, because we still have not gotten another one of these. Like, could you imagine if you had less sparkiness, less just kind of throwing stuff around, and just more, you know, grappling with robots and things like that? That'd be really cool. Someday. Say, whatever happens to old Biped Jones in this route, then? I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. This might be the end. Gee, you think it's an end boss? I don't know, I couldn't tell. Something about the fact that it's flying around shooting lasers everywhere, I don't know. It doesn't quite jive. But this Phantasma move, I love the reference. Like, as stupid as that move really is in practice, it's so cool, you know? I love it every time they do that. Armored Core needs more lasers. Actually, Armored Core needs more, you know, actual Armored Core sequels coming out. That might be a fun idea. Calm down. Okay, fine. That's some interesting advice there. What do you mean, calm down? Who's panicking? I probably should have bladed him there, to be fair. Funny note, by the way, I think they actually... so, they changed the AI to some degree for the PSP versions. I feel like for these ones, they might have improved it somewhat for the Pulverizers. Not for the Pulverizers, but some of the stuff you can fight in the... just kind of in these last areas here. Kind of got stun-locked. But, But yeah, and you know the old like flying up to the air and blowing it away trick. It doesn't always work as often in the PSP version for some reason. But okay, anyway, that'll be about that. I think I've rambled on and on about this game that I truly don't like very much, but I do respect the hell out of. So, that being said, thank you guys for stopping by. Hope you had at least some enjoyment out of it. And if there's any particular topics that you want to see covered, like especially for the 3rd gen AC, do let me know. Like 3 and Silent Line, I absolutely love to do, but it feels like aside from challenge runs, what do you cover there? So yeah, let me know. Have yourselves a good one, and take care.